do if Trump started to use one of your songs at his rallies? Because that happens a lot.
I'm surprised he hasn't. Already. On the one hand, I'd be afraid of sort of fueling the media by saying anything about it. But on the other hand, I would go choke his ass out.
That was back in 2016. And let me say this for the record. That's when he wasn't quite a president yet. He was just a candidate. And that was on the Bill Maher show. Don't
want Secret Service showing up.
They showed up?
No.
Oh, okay. Probably afterwards. But our next guest, man, has been a part of a movement that I've been keen to since the early 90s when King Tech and I first came on. KMEL in San Francisco and was doing the world famous Wake Up show, and we called the show Wake Up. It was a double entendre because it came on at nighttime, although people thought it was on in the morning to this day. But we kind of wanted to wake people up to information through music and culture that they weren't being privy to about the living conditions, the environment, the government, so on and so forth. So we played music by artists who we felt best voice that the same sentiment that we live by without us necessarily having to say it because we were on the air all the time. And I remember when this album Rage Against the Machine first came out back in the early 90s, and Killing in the Name or Bomb Track or all these different songs was on this project that just really kind of blew our mind. And even though it wasn't necessarily how they were playing music in a way we didn't necessarily grow up to, but they played it in a way that we can relate to, that made what they were doing from Evil Empire to Live and Rare, all the different projects they were doing in the early 90s, man. I became a big Rage Against the Machine fan. And one of those founding members are here, DB.
Oh, yeah. I've been teasing it all day because I'm a huge rock fan, and to have you here, you're Rolling Stone put out their list of top 100 guitarists of all time. This guy was in the top 50.
Damn,
we're talking all-time guitarists here. Okay. This guy is good. I mean, he's got this guitar that he puts Arm the Homeless on it. He takes whatever his political beliefs are. There have been people who have taken Make America Great Again and put their own spin on it, but this guy has been doing that. I mean, he had the backdrop on his tours, Make America Rage Again, Rage Against the Machine, Prophets of Rage, Audio Slave with the late great Chris Cornell. I mean, he's played with Chuck D. He's played with Be Real from Cypress Hill. He's from Harlem, you know what I mean, where we live.
Stand up.
So he was instrumental in forming the band Tool because he went to school with one of the members and put them together. So this guy, I'm a huge fan of him. Tom Morello with his new project Atlas Underground, which is out Friday, October 12th.
Tom Morello is here.
Hello, I am here.
You are here. Tom, good to have you here, man.
It's a pleasure. Nice to see you.
I saw you rocking to that Nicki Minaj remake of Dreams, man. I was like,
she was letting everyone know.
Letting
everyone know.
Yeah, I thought maybe, damn, could have got Nicki on the Atlas Underground, right?
I was just hoping she wasn't going to name me in the song.
Oh man, it's good to have you on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Man, I feel like we hung out 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And we never hung out.
Well, I followed you through the various thises and that's,
Yeah,
exactly. And here we are.
And here we are, man. Man, are you excited about this project?
Yeah. This record's called The Atlas Underground, and it's I had a very humble ambition on this record, and it was to forge a new genre of music, one that combines my Marshall stack riff rock power with some huge EDM drops and some of the music of now, but also incorporating some of my favorite artists of the day, from Killer Mike to Big Boy to Vic Mensa on the record. And the idea of this record was to both sonically tell a new story, but also lyrically to tell a new story. And the thematic thread that runs through it is social justice ghost stories, and the idea that the fallen heroes and martyrs and those killed unjustly in the past find a voice in these songs to speak to the troubles of the present, to hopefully light a beacon towards a more just and humane future. That's the idea.
Jesus, that's dope. I didn't know.
I think a lot about this stuff. You know what I mean?
You put. How did you select the artist then? Because you got an eclectic group of artists.
Well, I mean, from Wu-Tang, from RZA and GZA, who I've known for a long time, to new artists like I saw Vic Mensa play at Lollapalooza a couple of years ago, and he had this kind of theatrical presentation against police brutality on stage. It felt like it was an important moment in the political history of Chicago, and then then Prophets of Rage held an anti-inaugural ball on the night of Trump's inauguration. I invited Vic to come, and he flew himself out. I said, I want to be in business with him, you know. So that's just one example. But it's artists that I admire, like Big Boy, Bass Nectar, and I made this roaring track, and we wanted someone that had like nuance and intelligence in their lyrics, who was fired up about what's going on in the world. So I called up Big Boy, and he said, as soon as I get out of the gym, I'm down. So
and he did it, right?
And he did it. And the day he was in the studio, Killer Mike happened to stop by, and Big Boy hits me up and he says, do you mind if Mike jumps on the track? I'm like, I don't mind.
The Killer Mike, and that track was Rabbit's Revenge.
That's Revenge, yeah. And so that's one of the examples of like the ghost stories, where it's you know, racism and the murder of African Americans by police is as American as apple pie and baseball. And the idea that now it's always been happening, but now the fact that people can film it and it's more in your face gives us the opportunity to try to do something to stop it, because it's not stopping until we stop it. And so that's what they say very eloquently on that song Rabbit's Revenge.
But first, round of applause for this Music with a Purpose, which you have always done. You said you wanted to create a new genre.
Yeah.
Where do you see rock right now?
Yeah, I really don't look what's in other people's backyards. I just worry about what I'm doing. And I've always wanted to, this is my 17th record that I made right now. And I've always tried to push myself as a guitarist and as an artist. And in the early days of Rage Against the Machine, I self-identified as the DJ in the band. There was no DJ in the band. So not only would I play like the rock and roll riffs, but I would do the script, like I tried to create sort of like the Bomb Squad crazy background noise and the scratching of Jam Master Jay, and incorporate those elements into a rock and roll band. So on this record, to try to take it even another step further, where it's this seamless alloy between my electric guitar and the beats of Knife Party, Bass Nectar, Boots, Fantagram, these artists in a different genre to make something that is very fresh and brand new. That's the idea.
Man, Tom Morello is here. The Atlas Underground is out Friday, October 12th. This is his new project. You know, I had a chance to talk with Eminem, and a lot of the guys that have been making music for more than 2 decades, people are really, this is really a career. This is who you are.
Yeah.
You know, I asked him we talked about what is it like when you reapproach a project, and especially with the current music scene, and how has it affected you as an artist. This is what he had to say.
Because I feel like the way the climate is right now, if you give people enough time to, I got an album coming out in 2 months, you give people time to say, man, he better have a song like this or I ain't fucking with it. If he don't have a song like this, I ain't fucking with it.
Yeah.
He better not be rapping like this. He better not be rapping about this, or I'm not gonna fuck with it. And when you go into an album, you can go into anything with the mindset of this is gonna suck. And then even if you kind of don't feel that way, you're already kind of formed your opinion in front of all your friends.
So he's talking about the current climate with music.
Yeah.
Do you think about these things at all?
Not at all. I could care less.
Play that whole clip. He was like, I don't care.
I don't care about any of that. Like, I made a solemn vow to myself long ago, before Rage Against the Machine, that my one responsibility as an artist was to make music that I love and let the chips fall where they may. And you know, when we formed Rage Against the Machine, it was a multi-ethnic, neo-socialist punk rock, heavy metal, hip hop group. There was no audience for that. We weren't trying to find out what anybody thought about anything. And from that day to this Atlas Underground record, I want to make music that pleases me, music that I get off on, music that I may translate to both the mosh pit and the dance floor. But I got to make music that's true to me, and that's it.
The future of music, Tom Morello. Tom Morello, the future. I like that attitude right here. Matter of fact, we're going to play We Don't Need You. Sway the Morning featuring Vic Mensa. The Atlas Underground is the album. October 12th. Give us a call, 888-742-3345. Loop that for me, Aoki. We got to loop that right there. We Don't Need You, man. That's off the album, The Atlas Underground featuring Vic Mensa. We got Tom Morello who's here with us right now. what was the recording process like for that song?
Yeah, so Vic comes over to studio at my house, and we put the track together, and the only like lyrical suggestion I made was that let's make a song that you can stand your ground to. That was the only suggestion. And so then he's on his phone, he's outside smoking a cigarette, and I'm thinking, let's get going with the process here. Like, what's happening? He's kind of wandering around. I'm like, I walk out, I'm like, you all right, man? Water or anything? He's like, I'm good. I'm like, okay, let's kind of get going. It's cool. Let's get going. And then he comes in. He's like, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, great. So, let's get pen and paper out. And he's like, no, I'm ready to record. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's done. I'm like, well, where is it? He's like, it's in my head. It's like, you just wrote it in your head. And I was still kind of not believing him. And he went in the studio and he spit that.
And he spit this.
He spit that. Yeah, it was like, it's crazy. He just wrote it in his head.
Vic Mensa, ladies and
There
gentlemen.
he goes. Yep.
Tom Morello.
Yep.
I'm just
talented young man.
You worked with a lot of people. I mean, you even performed with Bruce Springsteen.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so, and it's funny because Aerosmith is on TV right now, and so they had the collaboration when they did Walk This Way with Run-DMC.
Historic,
right.
yeah.
And so, Rage Against the Machine comes out, and that was kind of like the next bridge of that fusion.
Yep.
So who have you worked with whether it be like a full-on rock song or a collaboration that kind of impressed you the way that Vic impressed you, the same way?
That's a good question. Yeah. I mean, some of that working with Chuck D, who I'm in the band with Prophets of Rage, like he is one of the most authoritative voices on any records ever. And I remember having those cassettes as a kid, and now I, look to Stage Right and I'm playing Fight the Power with Chuck D, and just his level of like commitment to excellence is something that is very impressive. Like when we play Prophets of Rage shows, he goes out there like, we're gonna crush this. Like if you're playing before us, if you're playing after us, good luck to you, because I'm Chuck D. And he was really one of the original, like in the, as far as hip hop performers, he had it together, and Public Enemy had it together in a way that no other groups did. Maybe Beastie Boys, maybe Run-DMC, but even the Public Enemy stage backdrop, you know where he got that idea from? He went to an Iron Maiden show, like a heavy metal show, and he saw the way that they did their presentation. He said, this like hip hop is just guys standing on stage with their friends. Like I want to do something that's going to be an effective, like event, an event that's going to get the band's idea across beyond just the music and the lyrics.
Wow, Chuck D. I went to the Marleys do a concert called Kaya Fest.
Yeah,
and I just went to see Be Real and Cypress Hill perform, and I haven't, I came up with those guys.
Sure.
So I haven't seen them perform in years.
Yeah.
What has your experience with Be Real been like?
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan. Cypress Hill was one of the cornerstone inspirations for Rage Against the Machine. Like that first record was huge for us. And Be Real actually appears in the very first Rage Against the Machine video in Killing in the Name. He's in the video, stage diving. So I've been a huge fan of his for forever. I produced a couple songs on the Rise Up record, and he's just been an idol of mine. So I'm in a band with him too. So that's kind of nuts with Prophets of Rage.
Yeah, man, you living your dream. Tom Morello right now, man. This dude, man.
I mean, I've been in a band with Zach De La Rocha. I've been in a band with Chris Cornell. I've been in a band with Bruce Springsteen. And I'm in a band with Be Real and Chuck D. And I got a record with Big Boy Killer Mike. So I feel it's like the Mount Rushmore of awesome.
You're done, bro. Yeah, Boots Riley.
I was in a band with Boots Riley. I was in a band with Boots Riley too.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
All right, Steven's on the line from New Orleans. What up, Steven?
Steven.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, bro? Go ahead.
That's true. I'm stoked for that album. Shoot, hey, you gotta make that song a ringtone. Gotta make that song a ringtone.
A ringtone?
What song? The one we just played? We Don't Need You?
Yeah, the one you played, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I got my manager. Hey, you guys hear that? Ringtone. They left the room. They go over there. You're over there. Is it Kelly's over there? Ringtone. She's got it. I got an okay.
Yeah, okay, good. It's happening. All right, cool, man.
That's in the works right now. Thank
you. All right, okay. Rob from Dallas. Go ahead.
Sway's like, what's happening?
I'm a big fan of you, Sway. I've been watching you since you were on TV. Tom, my dad bought me Evil Empire, peeled off the Parent Advisory sticker, and gave it to me for my birthday. And I saw you on Battle Los Angeles tour. And Sway, talking about backdrops, when they did that tour, every city they did was Battle Rock City. And I saw them in Phoenix, so it was Battle of Phoenix. And
Well, first of all, I'd say that's some good parenting on the part of your dad to take off that sticker and give it to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, on that tour was the Battle of Los Angeles tour. So in each city, the backdrop read Battle of Atlanta, Battle this, that, and the other. Oh, wow. And the crowd was excited by this.
The crowd was excited, man.
Yes,
Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, with all of these like significant musical acts that you've been a part of, I'm wondering, did you get into any trouble with women, with groupies, the way that a lot of folks get set up now, whether someone's like taking a photo?
I gotta tell you,
I
I grew up reading like these heavy metal magazines about like these bands, and it was all like crazy
Motley
groupie,
Crue,
this, that, and the other backstage. Then like I got like in an alternative rock band, and it wasn't any of that. And I'm like, where is that? I'm like, I've been reading about this my whole life, and it's just a bunch of guys, talking about sports backstage. I'm like, I saw a video. It was supposed to. That really materialized.
Wrong genre.
Yeah. No, that's honestly never been a part. I mean, and part of it was like coming up in the punk rock world. There was a greater like respect for women, in that, and we would often at the rage shows, like if women or girls were crowd surfing, and you see somebody touching somebody inappropriately, we would stop the show and just go, "That's not okay here. You take that back to the frat. That's not okay here." And this is a safe space for everybody to enjoy themselves. So there was on the one hand, my adolescent fantasies of groupiedom never really materialized.
Never happened.
But it was a much more, I think, kind of healthy relationship with the women in our audience.
Yeah, it helps you in the present time too.
Yeah,
because
yes, exactly. There aren't skeletons.
Right.
Exactly. You ain't worried, huh? Tom Morello is here, man, and he's not worried. Hashtag not me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Brian's on the line from Florida. Go ahead, B.
What up,
Hey,
B?
Brian.
Hey, Sway. Hey, family. How you doing?
Hey.
What's going on, Brian?
Tom, I got a question. Where the hell is Zach?
He's in Los Angeles, I believe, and he's he's been working on his own music for some time, and whenever he puts something out, it's great. And that guy's he's one of the most talented frontmen and lyricists in the world. So I'm a big fan, looking forward to whatever he puts out.
Will we ever see a Rage again?
If a Rage Against the Machine show breaks out, count me in, bro.
Okay.
Nice.
Count me in.
Great answer.
How many times did you get that question? Like,
how many times today?
Today?
A lot.
You didn't get it from me.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Everybody thinks like today. I guess he must have just got a text. They booked a 2-year tour. I got the scoop. That's not what's happening right now.
That's not what's happening.
That's not what's happening.
Hey, man, is there a song or that changed your career?
Yeah, there was. I mean, there's been a couple.
There's been a couple.
There's been a couple.
But what was that one that just?
Well, with how it relates to where we are today, I'd say it was Run-DMC's King of Rock.
King of Rock.
It was King of Rock because that to me was a kick-ass rock and roll song that had all of the swagger and attitude of the best rock and roll music I ever heard, but it was entirely different kind of music.
Yeah.
And there it is.
To call me sire, to burn my kingdom, you must use fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire.
Now we rock dark parties and come correct. All cuts are on time and rhymes connect. Got the right to vote and we'll elect. And other rappers can't stand us, but give us respect.
This is it right here, huh?
Yeah, that was it. And it checked the box that I loved, and it checked the box I didn't know existed. And I remember going to see Run-DMC play when I first moved to Hollywood at some little place. And I mean, it was one of the most explosive, like I didn't think that shows could be great if it wasn't rock and roll shows. You know what I mean? And I was like blown away by like the attitude. It was more authentic, had more attitude than a lot of the, kind of crappy metal bands that I thought were great. Yeah.
And
so
Run-DMC.
Run-DMC was huge. And it also made when I was thinking about making a band of my own, it informed me with the idea that perhaps you could rap over some heavy riffs.
Run-DMC.
Yeah.
The DNA of Rage Against the Machine.
Sure.
I like that. Tom Morello, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to tour? You going to tour this project?
Yeah. I'm doing some like promotional tours now where we play the record for audiences before it comes out. But in 2019, we're doing a proper Atlas Underground tour, but record out on October 12th.
There it is, man. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thank you very much.
You come
Thank
back
you.
if you come to
I'd
New
be
York.
happy to. I'd be happy.
All right,
I've
man. Tom
enjoyed our
Morello,
conversation.
Man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Man, make sure you pick it up, the Atlas Underground. Can they pre-order it yet?
Yes, TomMorello.com.
Okay.
1 R, 2 L's.
Okay, and then let me see what I want to play. Revenge. I'm gonna do Rabbit's Revenge.
I think you got to do that one.
We got to do Rabbit's Revenge on the way out, and then we got Celebrity Wire up next.
Yo, K. Michelle got issues at Amber Rose.
Shade 45.